When I talk to people about Prague, I notice they always have this reaction like I've heard of it, but I don't really know anything about it. I have to admit I was the same way at first, but after my first visit here a few years back, I instantly fell in love with the city even without knowing anything about it. Well, hopefully now that I'm back, I'll get to explore and learn more about this amazing city. And since our hotel is right next to the Old Town Square, it only makes sense for us to start there first. So coming from our hotel going to the Old Town Square, we passed by this church. This is the St. Nicholas Church. There's actually two St. Nicholas churches here in Prague, and this one is located here at the Old Town District. This church was built in 1735 on the same site where a Gothic church from the 13th century once stood. I couldn't really find anything significant about this church except that it was used as a radio station in 1945 during the Prague Uprising. But the fact that it was designed by a famous Czech architect, and I've read that the interior decorations are worth the visit, that's good enough reason for me to check out this church. It says it's open around the corner, so I guess we're gonna go around the corner. This is the first place we're gonna check out. Okay, there's a mass going on right now. Yeah, I guess we can't. Does it open at 10? Okay, we'll come back here at 10. We're gonna go to the what do you call this? The astronomical clock first, which is right here. This is actually in front of the Old Town Square, which is around this corner right here. Here, I'll show you. This is the Old Town Square right here. And the astronomical clock is on that side, so we're gonna go on that side. The Old Town Square is the most popular and historic square in Prague. It's located here at the Old Town District, which is the oldest area in the city, and it's pretty much the very heart of Prague. Aside from all the popular buildings, memorials, and museums around this square, a lot of events happen here. Most significantly, the gruesome executions that took place here in the 17th century as revenge after the Protestant uprising of the Bohemian estates. I'm not going to talk in detail about Prague's history because I know very little of it, but what I do know is that Prague, being the capital of the Czech Republic, played a major role in the Bohemian Protestant Reformation in the 30 Years' War in 1618 to 1648. Well, despite of what happened here, for me this place is just amazing and absolutely beautiful. I even read that during Christmas and Easter time, medieval markets and a musical stage are set up here. So this is the Old Town Square. That right there, actually I should go there first. Let's check it out. This is called the John House Memorial. I'm sure not pronouncing that right, but it's I'll just talk about it right now. This memorial is dedicated to John Hus, who is a Czech theologian and philosopher. Having been ordained as a priest, he began preaching here in Prague and opposed many aspects of the Catholic Church in Bohemia, which is back then the historical region of present-day Czech Republic. Anyway, John Hus became a key present figure in the Bohemian Reformation against the Catholic Church and eventually imprisoned and burned at the stake in Germany for heresy against the doctrines of the Catholic Church. The monument you see here was unveiled in 1915 to commemorate the 500th anniversary of John Hus's death, which depicts Hussites warriors and Protestants who were forced into exile while John Hus stands in the middle. And right behind it is the astronomical clock. So the astronomical clock is the first landmark I've been waiting to see ever since we got here the day before. It's a medieval clock installed in 1410, making it the third oldest astronomical clock and the oldest one operating in the world. As you can see, the clock is mounted on the southern tower of the Old Town Hall. It has three main components: the calendar dial, which represents the months, the astronomical dial, which represents the sun's and moon's positions, and finally the figures of the apostles, called the Walk of the Apostles, which rotates hourly around two windows above the clock. There's this legend about this clock that the person who made it was blinded so he couldn't duplicate his work, and then he disabled the clock and no one was able to repair it for 100 years. The legend was actually not true. In fact, the clock stopped working and was repaired many times throughout the centuries. Anyway, just thinking about the history of this clock and the severe damage it took in World War II during the Prague Uprising, we definitely had to take a tour inside this tower. Somebody's actually getting married right there. See those two? They're taking pictures of the clock, in front of the clock. I'm hoping it's open because it's like 9:30. Yeah, it's close to 10. But we're gonna go inside and check out the museum. There's a museum upstairs. Kind of sucks there's somebody getting married right now, but this is gonna change at like around 10 or so. Hopefully we'll be out here to see it. We're gonna go inside. Right as you enter the Old Town Hall, you'll see a mosaic and paintings on the walls and ceilings depicting great events of Prague's history, as well as themes taken from the national mythology and the nation's coat of arms. The Old Town Hall was constructed in the 14th century as an administrative building of the city. Although it's notable primarily because of the astronomical clock, which is one of Prague's famous landmarks, it also has a tower where you can go up and view the city, as well as access to Prague's 13th century underground complex, where you can explore houses, streets, and dungeons. Anyway, after we purchased our tickets for the tour, we went back outside to see the astronomical clock in action. Alright, check out all these people. So much people here, just waiting to see the clock. Here we go. That's it. I thought it was gonna be something like bigger, like it was gonna go around and stuff. But I guess that's it. I actually even missed it because I was looking at my screen. I'll just watch it. So we're gonna go inside. So this is inside. Once you get the ticket, this is what you'll see first. This room. They told us to go this way. What are these people? So this is the Town Hall Chapel, which is called the Chapel of the Virgin Mary, based on the memorial plaques on this wall, which dates back from 1481. This chapel's interior decorations had been modified several times, and aside from the unique stained glass windows, you'll see this neo-Gothic statue of St. Anne and St. Joseph dating back to 1887. And along the sides are fresco paintings of two angels dating back to 1481. I doubt that it's still used as a chapel today, but for sure it has one of the oldest preserved monuments in town. And from here, there's like steps here that goes up to this area. Let's see. Why is this so blurry? Oh, what is this? What's happening here? These are the statues of the apostles I was talking about that rotates every hour around the two glass windows you see there just above the clock. If you notice, each apostle is holding something representing their own attributes. I'm not 100% sure if these statues are made of wood. It sure looks like it though. Anyway, as I was looking at these statues, I noticed underneath them is a square opening that probably leads to the clock's mechanism. Okay, from this room, we're gonna go in the other room and see what's in there. This is called the Municipal Hall, which we first came through. It used to be the central point of this building. It's where important matters regarding the town's administrations were discussed. And surprisingly, it was also used as a wedding hall. This whole room right here. Let's see what's up there. I thought this was just a clock tower. I guess this was like a house, huh? Like a castle kind of thing. Let's see this room. Wow. So this room is called the Old Council Hall. It's said to be the most valuable interior here in the Old Town Hall. Because of its architecture and decorations, it ranks as one of the most graceful Gothic halls in Europe. In this room, you'll find statues on the walls dating back to the 15th century, and looking up, you'll see the Gothic ceiling with Renaissance paintings held by chains from the 16th century. In the corner of the room is one of the largest stoves that existed in ancient Bohemia, which is decorated with the Roman goddess of justice. And before leaving the room, you'll see the oldest form of the coat of arms of Prague, dating back to the 15th century. I'm gonna go next to this room right here. Now this room is called the antechamber to the assembly hall. I'm not really sure what its real purpose was other than a small room leading up to the assembly hall. But I noticed this door right away, and I've read that this is one of the Renaissance inlaid doors that's preserved here in Prague, dating back to 1619. There's also this painting from a famous Czech painter, Václav Brouzek, depicting important people from Czech history, as well as a porcelain vase gifted to Prague by Paris in 1901. This table must be old, right? What is this? This is what is that?
Antechamber to the assembly hall.
Antechamber to the assembly hall. What does that mean? Anyway, we're gonna go straight in that room. So this is the assembly hall, or Brouzek Assembly Hall. Wow. It's named that because of these two large paintings by Václav Brouzek, which captures the final moments of the life of John Hus, the medieval priest I was talking about earlier. Anyway, this is probably the biggest room here, which occupies 2 stories of the entire house. This room was created in 1879. It was used for Prague's council until the end of World War II. Today, the hall is used only for official events by the Lord Mayor of Prague. This room is pretty big. Actually, there's more seats right here. Alright, I'm not sure if that lady's supposed to be sitting there because, this thing is roped up. Okay, so this is called the assembly hall. And this room is still used today, huh? Mm-hmm. Alright. Onward. So this is called the George Hall. It's the last room in here, in this tower. The George Hall is named after George of Prague-Brady, who became king of Bohemia in 1458 by election here at the Old Town Hall. The walls in this room, which still has the old fresco paintings from the 15th century, are well preserved, as well as the main parts of the ceiling dating back to the 16th century. But I think the main focal point of this room is the marble sculpture of King George, which was sculpted by Thomas Seiden in 1873. I know I'm going to butcher a lot of names here, and I apologize for that. I mean, it's already hard researching all these things, so just give me a break. Anyway, from this room, we made our way up to the tower. Okay, so I guess we have to go to the 3rd floor to go to the very top of the tower. Alright, let's see. You know what? We decided to just go take the stairs because it says here to the tower. Alright, let's take the stairs. It's the St. Nicholas Church. But we're gonna go here inside this. Whoa. There's an actual elevator that goes straight up here. You can take the elevator or the stairs. I think we'll take the... Want to take the stairs? But from the elevator, look, from the elevator, how are you gonna go out? Right? Oh, here's the elevator, but we're gonna go take the stairs. Or whatever ramp. It looks like a ramp. It doesn't look like stairs. The walls here, it's pretty tight. There's a view from up here. We were standing right there watching the tower. But this is not the very top yet. We still have a few more steps to go. Alright, so this is the very top floor. There's some kind of mechanical thing in there. But if you look down, oh man. Okay, so from here, we're at the very top, by the way. Look at that. Oh, God. It'd suck if I drop my camera, but we're gonna walk up there. So to the very, very top of the tower. Alright, I guess we can't go upstairs yet because it's still red. When it's green, then we can go up. It's like the smallest street. Here, we'll wait for it to turn green. Alright, green. Let's see. Alright. This is like crazy tight. Oh gosh. Here we go. Oh man. Whew. So this is what it looks like. Wow. Alright, let's go out. Alright, let's go out. Go. Alright, so this is the very top of the tower. Oh man. That is Prague, man. I know that this tower was built in 1364, which was the highest tower in the city at that time. It's about 230 feet high. I could just imagine what this city must have looked like back then, and the hundred thousands of people that came up here throughout the centuries. It's actually quite amazing if you think about it. On this side, this is the square, the Old Town Square. You know, Prague, being the capital of the Czech Republic, is the largest city in the country. See, this country was once called Bohemia, which was an ancient kingdom part of the Habsburg monarchy and the Austrian Empire. It was only after World War I when Bohemia became part of Czechoslovakia, which changed its name to Czech Republic as we know today in 1990. This city played major roles in the Bohemian and Protestant Reformation, the 30 Years' War, all the way to the 20th century. But during the reign of King Charles IV of Bohemia in 1346 to 1378, it's when Prague really flourished. Throughout the centuries, Prague endured many wars, uprisings, plagues, and fires, but surprisingly, many of the historical buildings here survived, making Prague the best preserved medieval city in Europe. Anyway, today Prague is home to many well-known cultural attractions, such as the Prague Castle, Charles Bridge, the Old Town Square, the Astronomical Clock, the Jewish Quarter, and many more, which we'll definitely go to in the coming days. Pretty amazing. Here's another view of Prague, of the city. Look, there's a restaurant right there. Let me zoom into that. It's like, must be nice. Okay, now that we're done, we're gonna take the elevator all the way down. Alright, let's go. Oh, we're here. Okay, so we're gonna go outside. We're finished with wow, look at this. We're gonna go to the St. Nicholas Church and then have breakfast after that. So hopefully we can go in. So this is St. Nicholas Church. We're gonna go in. I talked a little about this church earlier on this video. I couldn't really find any information about it other than its interior. I've read that it's inspired by the chapel of Paris called the St. Louis des Invalides. Although the church looked big from outside, the church is actually quite small inside. But the decorations on the walls, the sculptures, and the fresco paintings are just amazing. Oh, and they have this huge chandelier right in the center, which you'll never miss. Anyway, aside from the fact that this church still functions as a church, it's also used as a venue for musical concerts as well. So after staying here for a few minutes looking at this amazing interior, we decided to get breakfast from one of the stalls at the Old Town Square. We're gonna get sausage here in one of these vendors right here. I'm sure everyone knows that sausage is ground meat mixed with fat, salt, and some seasonings. I'm not really sure of its origin, but most likely it originated here in Europe. You'll find sausage almost everywhere here. It's very popular. Anyway, as you can see, they served it with just a piece of bread. I actually added the mustard and ketchup myself. And along with it, we ordered this. I have no idea what this is called. I thought it was potatoes at first, but it's actually gnocchi with sauerkraut and pieces of ham. So we ended up sitting at the park. She's still trying to get some drink, but well, I'm not really at a park. I'm actually sitting on a bench just across the Old Town Square, which is over on that side. We just ended up sitting here because there's too many people at the square and there's no place to sit. So I have no idea how I'm gonna film this. because my teeth hurt, so I'm gonna try and film it. I put like mustard and ketchup on it. I don't know how I'm gonna do this because the hot dog is still hot, but oh, crunchy. Oh, wow. So good. Oh, okay. I don't know if I can get the bread. Yeah. It's all over my face now. It's hard to eat it, but it's pretty good. The sausages here are pretty good. Amazing. I'm gonna try this one right here. Let me try this. I don't know what this is. It's kind of like a potato with sauerkraut on it. It has sauerkraut. I can smell it. It also has like bacon. Oh wow. This would be good with my sausage. Should put a lot of in this one thing, huh? Oh, a lot. Pretty heavy. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it on my. There we go. This is how I'm gonna eat it. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna try and cut this. Here's sauerkraut. Amazing breakfast. Well, we should have gotten a beer. Should be good with beer. Whistle like that. So stupid. But that's it. It's pretty big. I put alcohol in it last night. Really die, but whatever. It's just a part of my life. Oh, look at that. It's fat. We won't be able to finish this. This thing is like so much. This whole thing. I finished my hot dog already. It's like gnocchi or potato, I don't know. But it definitely has sauerkraut in there. Oh, after this, after breakfast, this is our breakfast. After this, we're gonna go, we can't see it from here, but that church right there that looks like Disneyland, we're gonna go to it. Going to the church back there. This is the National Gallery in Prague. The National Gallery Prague has the largest collections of art in the Czech Republic. The artworks, if I've read it correctly, are not housed in this single building alone, which is by the way called the Kinsky Palace, but it's spread out to other historical buildings within the city as well. The gallery was founded in 1796 and is said to be one of the oldest and largest public art galleries in Central Europe. I'm not sure how many collections they have, but the fact that they have other buildings for the gallery, it's probably a lot. We're not gonna go in, we're just gonna go in if we have time, if we ever have time, because there's so much that we have to go to today. We have to go in, we're gonna try and get inside the church first. I think we have to go that way. Actually, before we go to the church back there, this is the Stone Bell House. We're trying to figure out why it's called the Stone Bell House. Maybe it's because of that right there. See that bell? It's right next, it's actually embedded in the wall. Maybe that's why it's called the Stone Bell House. I actually got that right. The Stone Bell House is named after the bell on the outside corner of the building. I've read that the bell is kind of a reminder that King John of Bohemia possibly lived here while the palace was damaged by fire in 1303, and that Charles IV, who was probably the most popular king in Bohemia, was born here in 1316. Anyway, the house was built sometime in the 13th century as a residence and now serves as a museum exhibiting modern and contemporary art, which is quite a contrast considering the building is ancient. Okay, we're trying to find this is the chapel or the church I was talking about. We're trying to figure out, we've been around here, we're trying to figure out how to get in the church. I found it. I think that's the entrance of the church. It's weird, it's situated here, right in front of a restaurant. But I don't think there's any way, there's no way to get in there. There must be a way because on the app it says we should definitely go inside. So we're gonna find a way. This is the town square. And it goes, you have to go in this hallway right here. Well, after talking to people around here, we found out that the entrance to the church is kind of hidden away. You have to go through this path coming from the old town square surrounded by restaurants and shops. It is like a secret passage. We asked some guy and he said it's a secret. And I'm like, can you tell us the secret? Oh, look. So this is called the Church of Our Lady Before Tin. It's the main church here in Old Town Prague since the 14th century. The building you see now was constructed during that time, but an earlier building of this church once stood here in 1256. This Gothic church is one of the most significant buildings you'll see right away when you visit the Old Town Square. And this is the entrance. Let's see what it looks like. It's closed. Okay, so this is what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna try to peek through this for now. So we're definitely gonna come back here. There's a time and schedule where we can come. We just barely missed it. It closes at 12 today, but maybe tomorrow is totally closed. So we're gonna go the next day after that. So, but for now we're gonna go to our next place. And since the church was already closed, just around the corner from the square we passed by this chocolate museum called the Choco Story Chocolat Museum. I guess if you're really into sweets, you should definitely go to this museum. And aside from learning the process of making chocolate, I've read that you can also eat all the chocolate you want in there. Anyway, from the museum, we walked to this very popular street. This street is called Celetna. It connects the Old Town Square with the Powder Tower, which you see up ahead. This street dates back to the Middle Ages, where it got its name after a bread they sold here, making it one of the oldest streets in Prague. Sometime in the 14th century, it became part of the royal route, where the coronation parade would travel down all the way to Prague Castle. This street is probably the most visited and the most busiest street here in Prague. This is one of the oldest streets in Prague, I just found out, and we're walking this way because we're gonna go to the next stop. I believe it's gonna be the Powder Tower, which is that thing right there. Just passed by this is called the House of the Black Madonna. Located here in Celetna Street, this building was built as the first example of Cubist architecture in Prague. It's originally designed as a department store, but it eventually ended up being used as a Czech museum for Cubism. The museum focuses on Cubist art from Czech artists during the early 20th century. Aside from the museum, you also find the Grand Cafe Orient on the first floor. And right next to the Black Madonna is this. This is the House of the Golden Angel. It started out as an inn and turned into a luxury hotel. Many famous and prominent people stayed in this house, most notably Mozart, who stayed here during his first visit to Prague in 1787. It still serves as a hotel today, and it sits just a block away from the Powder Tower. So this road right here is called the Royal Way, and that thing right there is called the Powder Room, or no, the Powder Tower. Actually, the Royal Way is the historical route used by the Czech kings on their way to the coronation, which goes through this road entering the Powder Tower or the Powder Gate. This tower is one of the original gates that separates the old town from the new town. It was constructed in 1475 as an entrance into the city, but was later used to store gunpowder in the 17th century, where it eventually got its name. Even though the tower suffered heavy damage during the Battle of Prague in 1757, it still stands today and people can actually go up the tower and admire the view of the city from up there. I remember this. The first time I came here, I actually tried to climb that. But now I get to talk about it and know what it is. So I guess this is the royal way. The kings of Czech Republic, actually, when they have the coronation, they come here. This is where they come through. Coming through the Powder Tower, we're gonna go straight here. There's this street. It's supposed to be an old street, one of the oldest streets in Prague. It's on this side. Same as the Celetna Street, this street is old too. It's called Napríkop, which means on the moat. Most likely it was named that because the site was once a moat that led along the medieval walls of the old town. Throughout its history as the first street in Prague to have a horse-drawn tram and the first intersection to be controlled by a policeman, important buildings such as old palaces, the Czech National Bank, and expensive shops eventually became part of this street, making it the most expensive street among the 4 Central European countries, or the Visegrad group. Okay, so this is called the Napríkop Street. It's a very old street here that's lined up with the shops and restaurants and whatever. It's only like pedestrians that come walk here. There's no cars, but it stretches all the way over there. But we're not gonna go through the whole street because our direction is on the other side. This is the municipal hall right here. It's right next to the Powder Tower. But I'm gonna check out this guy. He's playing something. The Municipal House is a civic building that houses concert halls, ballrooms, and many restaurants and cafes. Although this current building was opened in 1912, the Royal Court Palace back then used to be located here where the King of Bohemia resided from 1383 until 1485. It's probably because Prague Castle was abandoned due to the Hussite Wars. Okay, from here we're gonna go to another tower, which is located here. We're gonna go straight down there. So this is the tower I was talking about. It's called the Jindřiška Tower. Apparently you can go inside. It says that it's nice in there, but I don't think we're gonna go in. We're just gonna admire it from outside. In case you're wondering, we are now at the new town area of Prague, and what you're seeing here is the Jindřiška Tower. This is actually a bell tower that was built between 1472 to 1476, and it's the tallest freestanding bell tower in Prague. This tower went through a lot in history. It was destroyed by the Swedish army during the siege of Prague in 1648. It was damaged by the Prussian army in 1757, and then it went through many reconstructions throughout the centuries after that. But what I found really interesting while researching about this tower is that it was the original bell tower of the Church of St. Henry and St. Kunhata, which is located right across the street from it. But I don't think it's famous. I just want to take a picture of it, or a video of it. Anyway, just around the corner from the church is a synagogue. The Jubilee Synagogue was built in 1906 in honor of the Silver Jubilee of Emperor Franz Joseph I of Austria. But when Czechoslovakia became independent in 1918, it was referred to as the Jerusalem Synagogue. As a place of worship throughout the years in 1939, during the Nazi German occupation, the synagogue was sadly used as a storehouse for confiscated Jewish possessions. Today, the Jubilee or the Jerusalem Synagogue, which I think still serves as a place of worship, offers tours to visitors and tourists if you want to see what's inside. I think it's called the Jubilee Synagogue. It's a Jewish synagogue. I think we can go inside. What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I think we should go inside. Alright. I doubt it though. They're always closed. We'll see. Oh, it's a gallery. It's a little creepy. It's really dark. There's nobody here. Let's see. Right as we were about to enter, we changed our minds because the tour might take a while, and we still have a lot of places to see that day. I don't know. Should we get a ticket? Nah, we're just gonna go to the next stop. It's really not a major landmark or anything. It's just a synagogue here. So we're going to the next. I think the next one is the train station or something. So this is the Prague Main Station. I'm not sure if that's the main building because it's hard to tell with all the construction around it. I tried my best to find a spot to view the building, but I have to say I didn't feel safe around this area. There's just too many homeless people hanging around. I mean, I didn't see them bothering people, but let's just say you won't see me walking around here at night. Kind of seems iffy here. Oh, this signs right here. But what I noticed is that there's a lot of like homeless people here in the train station. So they're mostly like situated in the park down there. This station is the largest train station in Prague. It was named Franz Joseph Station when it was first opened in 1871. Then it was changed to Wilson Station after Woodrow Wilson, who was a former US president only until 1948. Anyway, you can catch a train here going to major cities in the country as well as other countries in Europe and Russia. There's also a bus station here that travels to the cities within the Czech Republic and an express bus service to the airport. I was hoping to see the building because there's a nice building that actually shows this whole place. But we walked inside. We're actually inside a train station. But look, right there. I was hoping I could film the building, but I don't know where it is. We're just gonna go. Yeah. I was hoping to see the building, but I don't know where to position myself. I think it's right over there somewhere, but I don't think we're gonna go there anymore. I really wanted to take a video of the main building, but I didn't want to navigate around the station anymore. I'm not even sure if we're allowed up here. Anyway, from the Prague's main station, we made our way back to the municipal house to this area.